Anti-war activists are gearing up for protests outside FBI offices in cities across the country today and tomorrow after the FBI raided 8 homes and offices of anti-war activists in Chicago and Minneapolis Friday. The FBI's search warrants indicate agents were looking for connections between local anti-war activists and groups in Colombia and the Middle East. 8 people were issued subpoenas to appear before a federal grand jury in Chicago. The federal law cited in the search warrants prohibits, quote, providing material support or resources to designated foreign terrorist organizations. Some of the groups listed by name in the warrants are Hezbollah, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC. Joining us via Democracy Now! Video stream from Chicago is Joe Osbaker, whose home was one of 2 raided in Chicago Friday. He's an employee of the University of Illinois in Chicago and a steward for SEIU Local 73. Describe what happened to you on Friday morning.
Well, it's the exact same story. It was a nationally coordinated assault on all of these homes. 7 a.m., the pound on the door. I was getting ready for work, came down the stairs, and there were, I think, in the area of 10 agents. They identified themselves as FBI, showed me the search warrant, and I turned to my wife and said, "Stephanie, it's the thought police."
My first activism was against the Vietnam War. Then we both were active in the student movement. We both were active in the labor movement. Both of us have been union participants in chief steward, executive board, negotiating committee, all of that. He's in SEIU and I'm in AFSCME.
It's a mixed marriage.
Joe Osbaker, I wanted to ask you about the other house that was raided. Just looking at an AP piece, FBI agents in Chicago took a laptop and documents from the home of Palestinian-American anti-war activist Hatem Abudaya, who is the executive director of the Arab American Action Network. His attorney, Jim Fennerty, said the government's trying to quiet activists. The case is really scary, he said. Abudaya is an American citizen. Can you talk about your work on Israel-Palestine, who Hatem Abudaya is?
Well, I actually have to talk about my wife's work. My wife is a longtime solidarity activist in the Palestine Solidarity Movement.
Stephanie Weiner.
Correct. She was also subpoenaed. And really everyone in the anti-war movement in Chicago knows Hatem.
Here because today is the day of the grand jury for the additional 9 who were subpoenaed just a month and a half ago. 6 of those 9 are Palestinians, and all 9 do Palestine support work. So BDS, Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions Movement, is working in the U.S., in Africa, in Latin America, in Europe. We are doing a much better job of delegitimizing Israel as a so-called democratic state. We're going to keep coming out, and we have a lot of support here. You can see thousands of people across the country right now are protesting in over 40 cities, and we have broad support from unions, from the faith institutions, from the mainstream civil libertarians in this country. I mean, it's obvious that we're doing a lot of things right, and we're making a budge in Israel's public relations campaign, and that's why we're being repressed.
Mick Kelly?
Yes.
Tell us what's been going on today.
Well, the FBI has raided my home. Right now there's about 10, 12 FBI agents rummaging through my papers, documents. They've confiscated computers. They've taken my passport, etc.
And we're in the Hard Times Cafe in Cedar Riverside, and your apartment is just upstairs from the cafe, right?
That's correct.
So there are agents upstairs right now?
That's correct.
One of the issues, I don't know why it should matter. People go to other countries all the time.
Right,
and it's not illegal to go to Colombia, and it shouldn't matter who pays for a trip to Colombia.
People who worked with me on leading the delegation in 2002, and that have led other delegations to Palestine since then.
Colombia as well?
No, the people in Chicago weren't doing political work around Palestine. I mean, around Colombia with me.